Good morning, everyone. Farmer Andrew here. This is day 9 of the sandy brush clearing job. I have to apologize. I got tied up in a bunch of other things and neglected to shoot a video in the morning of day 8. But we made a bunch of progress on day 7 and day 8, so I'm just going to go over some of it. So this little former paddock over here, we made a lot of progress on this. Took out most of the remaining debris. There's a pile here. I need to confirm with the property owner whether or not he's just going to want to take this and drag it up to a brush pile and just burn it, or whether or not he would like me to decompose it in place. We've got the start of some firewood going for the friend of the family who's going to come over and decompose this big guy for firewood. He's going to come cut it up with a chainsaw. So I wanted to point out, this is kind of a unique feature. I guess the property owner and I were discussing it, and this area here might have been a former access road of some sort, because there's a culvert there, and this culvert, we finally cut our way to the other side yesterday, past this fence line. You can see the fence line here, just T-posts and untensioned wire, which is taken down by this tree and that tree, and it turns out there's a big tangle of cedars and other trees that have all just kind of knocked all this down. And you can see way down there, that's the other end of the culvert where all this water is coming out. So probably good for the landowner to know where that is. In addition, excuse my speed here, traversing the rugged terrain. In addition, we spent a lot of time yesterday just breaking open this kind of forest primeval grove here. So when we started this job, this part of the property was basically a green wall. You couldn't see through it, you couldn't walk through it. And now it's just way open. There's a couple of deadfall trees that are a little bit too much for me to take out with hand tools, so the property owner is going to have his son come back with a chainsaw and break that up. We're going to decompose all these smaller limbs over here. But you can see, looking through it now, you can see clear through to the other end, and you can see the roof of the little shack there that they've got for picnicking and such. So all these cedars, which I cut down yesterday, we're going to decompose them. I think I might have mentioned that the property owner expressed some interest in using the trunk of these saplings as some kind of project materials, whether or not they be used to line the trails, or I should say the trail, the little walking trail that we have established down there, or something in the garden maybe. The boys are working on taking out what little is left of this little patch of blackberries. I'll come in with my loppers in a bit and chop those up so they're all the way down to the ground. But you can see all the way through, all of this was completely opaque. You couldn't see down to the creek. And eventually, although we may not get it finished in this session of the work, the property owner's eventual goal is to have the creek, which is behind that green wall down there, be visible. And most of the stuff down there is pretty soft. It's not going to require a lot of doing. It's going to be mostly machete and goat work getting that stuff down. But you can see how much tidier and how much cleaner this is. And yes, I definitely thinned out a bunch of the cypress grove here. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be sensitive and strike kind of a healthy balance between taking so much that all this canopy is lost and the nice dappled kind of shady area is removed, and getting rid of enough stuff so that it's accessible and it's pleasant and open and nice. And I think we're doing a pretty good job of striking that balance. These big old cypress trees up there are still providing a great shade umbrella, as are some of these other trees up there. I can't tell if those are alders or willows, but nice and wide open. We're going to continue to break this stuff down, so all this stuff's going to come down to the ground. It's not going to be kind of a hazard of any kind once we're complete. We also worked a little bit on the picnic area over here. And you can see that the blackberries that were in this area are pretty much gone now. And again, for this part here, I need to come through and get rid of the remaining blackberry canes with a machete or loppers. But then this little picnic area down here has just cleaned up very nicely. And you can see we've got pretty much everything down to the ground. There we go. Picnic table is clear. There's a little bit of grass here, but nothing substantial. So this area is nice and usable, and we also worked on clearing the head of this little nature trail. So this is the trail that we have established. And there's a little bit of a natural seep here, so the property owner and I have talked about using some of the available materials on the property, specifically those cedar boughs that are coming off the trees, to essentially just line this, make a nice living mat of material that will keep it from sinking into it. And then the next step, which will probably come during the next session that we're out here, the property owners have expressed an interest in having us return after we're done tomorrow with this session. So there's all this stuff here, which is mostly soft stuff interspersed with a certain amount of deadfall. There's a number of really, trees that have just fallen all over this creek. It probably hasn't been maintained in any way for, gosh, if I had to guess, I'd say at least 20 or 30 years. So all of this stuff is very easily removable by us. We come through, we get rid of all this soft green stuff. I take down all these trees and tree limbs, which are clogging things up. And then they can get access back to the creek. And you can actually see, let's see how close I can get without sinking into the floor here. You can see the creek there, just barely, through this, I guess it's another cedar there that has fallen down. Yeah. So, I can take the limbs off of that cedar. I might have to come back with some waterproof boots to do some of that work. While the goats work on the bank here, there's some clover, there's some ferns, there's some holly, there's some grasses, all of this stuff the goats will eat. And so we can restore that view of the creek. Someone, not me, will have to come back with a chainsaw and cut up the trees that have fallen into the creek, and some of these other trees, like these ones that are blocking this little trail here. But this is going to turn into a nice little nature walk. And again, looking up the hill, you can see the difference. You can see a lot of light through there. I wish it was a little bit sunnier at the moment. I'll try to shoot a video tomorrow of sunny conditions, but it's just beautiful, nice, green, a lot of water. And we're just going to have to clean up this little curtain right here and, limb some of these trees here. And it's going to be pretty nice when we're done. They're looking forward to it. And I am too. I'm really a big fan of seeing properties that just have so much potential be restored to accessibility. Anyway, so this is Farmer Andrew, day 9 of the sandy brush clearing job. And the boys and I say, hey, have yourself a great day.